Whatever you wanna do.
Okay.
Whatever you wanna do, that's fine. I'm gonna leave it out of mine
Okay.
for the school.
All right.
So you could talk about it because you have more information than I do.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay?
Thanks.
All right.
All right.
We are live.
We are live.
We're live. We're gonna open the public hearing.
You want to open the hearing?
I might go send flags, all right.
Kind of like Ducky was. Yeah. You know.
Is everybody ready?
Your mics are hot.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna bring the public hearing, meeting into order at 6:16. Please rise and say the pledge. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You want to do roll call first? Sure.
Trustee Clifford is absent. Trustee Howley?
Yep.
Trustee Town?
Here?
Trustee Sellier?
Here.
Mayor Buckley?
Here.
Attorney Nugent?
Here.
Everybody's here except for Trustee Clifford.
Thank you very much. All right, public hearing. Public comment will be limited to 5 minutes per public hearing. Public hearing number 1 is regarding the local law establishing requirements and procedure for the payment of professional fees and land use applicants in the village. As we talked in the workshop with that is a fee schedule for anybody that's about to do a project in the village. So you better to know exactly how much that project will cost you in professional fees before you get started. So it's not exact, but it'll give you a better understanding how much an engineer is gonna cost, a lawyer is gonna cost, a planner if needed at that meeting, and as far as an attorney at that meeting. So right now you really don't know how much it's gonna cost you or how many meetings. We wanna get to a place where we can tell you pretty much, you can, pretty much how many meetings.
Could you share
and-
the water with your brother? I can't.
No, this is gonna cost you this much in professional fees. I will open it to the public. Go ahead.
Now, Mayor, if we can make a motion to open the public hearing?
Make a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Second.
Okay, Town,
Any-
Sellier?
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Public hearing.
Robert Cooper, 1177-17 Greenwood Lake. Why would an applicant be responsible for the village's legal fees?
Not the village's legal fees. It's for the fees for your project itself.
You have an attorney at the board meeting already that you're paying for, why would the applicant have to pay for that?
That's a good question.
I can
Fine.
address that. So it's not unlimited and it's not all services. For example, if you're at a planning board and the planning board needs advice from the attorney for their benefit, the applicant doesn't get charged with that. But fees related to that application get assessed. You're right, the village has an attorney there, but the reason the attorney is there to deal with those applications. So
So if the attorney's giving legal advice, they're not passed on to the applicant?
the legal advice does not get passed on to the applicant. There is a case involving that called the Jewish Reconstructionist case, and a village or municipality can't properly charge legal advice that's for the benefit of the board. So, for example, the planning board says, hey, attorney, we don't understand this, timeline or what it means in the law for a site plan approval. That still gets paid by the village. But if it's review, let's say, of your agreements or restrictive covenants and things like that related to that project, then that would get shifted to the applicant, which honestly is pretty standard in every municipality. The village already had this chapter. It just was kind of narrow in some respects and didn't really cover some applications. So it should be for any application where an applicant's coming in. And I apologize for my voice, but 4 days in Savannah will do that.
Do you need a cough drop too?
Do you need to make two?
Sir, can you spell your name for me, please?
MC, capital C-O-O-B-E-R-Y,
Your first name again?
Robert.
Thank you.
Ed Kroll, 659 Jersey Ave. Is there gonna be like specific dollar amounts for the different, professional fees? Or is it,
That's
there
what
is?
we want, yes.
So it'll be like, if it's legal, it's this, if it's the engineer, it's that, and I'm imagining on any application, the engineer is gonna be the prime primary, right? Cause
I would
you
think
know,
so.
on, especially on land use, they do more than anybody.
I would think so.
And it's gonna be based on the size of the
Brian would
project.
be
Yeah,
more
I think
like-
that's accurate. In my experience, most of the expense is engineering in most applications, sometimes planners. Like if you come in with a text amendment application and you want to change the zoning code, then you might have like a planner expense more so. But if it's like a site plan or subdivision, that's usually engineering that generates more of the cost.
Now, what if it was something different that wasn't in our zoning? And there had to be new, zoning created to facilitate something? Would the applicant be responsible for all the legal fees and development or even, you know, writing of that zoning? Or would it be the village?
So typically, it's two possibilities when it comes to text or zoning amendments. Either the village can initiate it, in which case obviously nobody gets charged. But if you come in, which as often happens with a development, and you need a zoning amendment, that zoning amendment review and cost would be shifted to the applicant because they're the ones seeking to change the zoning on a particular property or to allow a particular use. But let's just say there was discussion with the village and they decided, whether within a comp plan or something broader, to change, you know, more parcels and make it kind of a village project, then no, it wouldn't go to the applicant.
Okay, just a quick for instance, so wind power generation, obviously it's not here, but I'm gonna use it as an example, cause he just had it recently in a place I was. It was months and months of research and zoning changing and stuff like that, so, I mean, of course, in a situation like that, if it were O&R or whoever doing it, they have deep pockets and they can do it, but on a smaller, scale, that could ring up fast. So, you know, you would kinda hope if there was some benefit for future applicants or, you know, other residents, that it would be considered and that the applicant wouldn't be, you know, forced to bear that cost on their own. I guess the key would have to be, there would have to be possible benefits for others.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, because you know some of them are very narrow. Like somebody comes in and wants to change their abutting parcel and match the zoning, and it only benefits them, and it's really not a village thing. But I agree, if it's a broader thing, or the village says, hey, you know, we should expand this and do an overlay zone for the whole village, then I think it would shift to the village at that point.
And I think the other thing you can consider when you're doing it is if it's for commercial uses or not for commercial uses. If it's not for commercial uses, if you could find a way to try to go easier on, you know, homeowners and stuff, trying to do that type of stuff, it would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, on that note, you know, what you can do is establish a fee schedule for residential things, which are kind of standard, and just have a flat fee for, like, you know, somebody, whatever, if it's a single family home or some, you know, basic project, you can kind of set a schedule by resolution that this is the fees. You know, you estimate, and hopefully you're close. And if you do it a few times and you realize we're off, then you would change those numbers, you know, as you go along. But a lot of places do fixed fees for residential projects, you know. And I say residential, I mean like the resident doing it, not a subdivision building, you know, 12, 15 houses. That would fall into this commercial group kind of.
Yeah, a couple meetings ago, I had mentioned it. I recently did a project in New Jersey, and they essentially charged me by the plan, by the page of the plan, and I was under, you know, and they gave me the money back. So it was good.
You should just put everything on one page in that case.
It's a great idea. I'm gonna try that next time.
Lesson
While you
learned.
make the big
One
money.
really big page.
Anybody else?
Just the thought, the fee schedules, would think it would be hourly, flat, or what's the thought there?
Originally, the plan was like people, like for someone that's doing like a septic, you know what I mean? Instead of having this exorbitant just to do a septic, it would be a certain fee for the engineer to you know, unless it was like a huge change of a septic system.
Fixed dollar amount, we're not thinking hourly,
Right.
fixed dollar.
Well, yeah, so
Yeah.
bigger projects are going to be an estimate where
Right.
the professionals are going to get together and kind of say, well, based on what we're seeing on the plans, this is the number, okay? But it's not going to be rocket science and be exact every time, because that applicant may change their plans, you know, requiring further review. So it is an estimate, and to give them an upfront number to say we expect it to be this. So at least they have some planning, budgeting, you know, number. But there are things that can happen along the way, whether initiated by the applicant or some other problem that, may fluctuate. Sometimes it's less, and then there's a refund.
Yep.
Anybody else? No? Alright. I got a motion to close.
Yeah, just before we do that, so if the board wants to close tonight, you can close and adopt, or you could continue, but if you feel that there's no other further reviews, we don't have to obtain any other input, you could close and adopt tonight as well.
I say we do that. Does
I
anybody
got
have
a
any other
motion to
reviews?
close and adopt.
No, let's just do them, sorry. Motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing. Motion, please.
I'll make the motion.
Chad?
Chad,
Second.
Kelly?
Kelly.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
And then if you want to just do the resolutions later, as you have them on the agenda,
Yes,
we
have
can do
one
that.
there, yeah. Public hearing number 2 regarding the local law amending Chapter 23 of the Village Code, records access to improve records access and appeals procedures. Can I get a motion to open the public? No, you want to?
Yeah, you can do that, open it
Motion
first.
to open the public hearing.
I'll make a motion.
Tom, second Kelly.
Smiling over there.
Any discussion? All in
No.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You want to talk about that a little bit more, Kat?
I can address it if you want, Kat.
Yeah, you can, thanks.
So this is really the big step here is we're taking all the detail that's in the code and we're putting it into procedures that'll be done by resolution. That's kind of the main change here because things change in the Freedom of Information law and things may change in the village. So instead of having to have a public hearing every time and amend the local law and go through that process, this local law still talks about records access and sets forth the principles, but instead of listing all the detail, it allows the village board to set rules and regulations by resolution concerning records access. That resolution will be publicly available, posted on the website, and sets forth the details like who's the appeals officer, how many days, till records are turned over. And we've also, in the proposed regulations, which are on the agenda tonight, you had, I think, the village board as the entity where there was a FOIL appeal. The problem with that is you also had the village board responding in 10 or 15 business days, and that would mean you either have to have a special meeting just to hear a FOIL appeal. So our recommendation, which is in those regulations, is that the mayor be the FOIL appeal person that, you would file your appeal with, and then after that, if they're denied again, just like any municipality, they would be able to go to court and file an Article 78. Other than that, there's really not a lot of substantive changes in this other than taking it out of the code and making it easier for you to amend regulations if you discover problems or things happen along the way, and to sort of, and we also matched it up as far as the appeal time. So you have a person has 30 days to file a FOIL appeal if they're denied records. Other than that, I don't think there's much different than what you were doing already in terms of FOIL.
It was mostly the board and being able to access them if there was an appeal. And the time frame of when our next meetings were.
Because we meet once a month.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
so,
I have to respond in a certain amount of
Right,
days.
right. I got
and the reason that's important now is if you miss the timeline, somebody can go to court and pursue attorney's fees for missing the deadline. So that having the board as the appeal on a FOIL appeal is just a bad idea because you need notices and everything else to have a meeting, and then you'd have to have a special meeting
Right.
just to deal with that.
Makes sense to me. Anybody else?
And just so there's no confusion, we're doing the local law right now. After the local law is adopted, there'll be an adoption of the regulations, which are also available, that kind of give you the details for FOIL.
Thank you. Open up for public hearing. Anybody? Going once, going twice, 3 times. All right. Motion to close the public hearing for number 2.
I'll make the motion.
Chad,
I'll second it.
Tom, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed. All right. Public hearing number 3 regarding local law to authorize the video conferencing of video village meetings in the village of Greenwood Lake pursuant to the New York State Public Officers Law number 103-A. This is referred to as the Kelly Law.
But she's not gonna need any more, 'cause
Yeah.
we're kicking ass right now.
Can I get a
Not
motion
right this second,
to
though.
open the public hearing, please?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Second, Chad. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Alright, so this is to allow us to video conference in, any trustee or anything like that because of health issues, or what else you got on there?
So this, yeah, after COVID, you know, the state legislature enacted this law under the open meetings law that authorized the board to hold meetings by video conference. In some ways, they made it more difficult because if you wanted a trustee to participate by video conference, you have to allow everyone in the public to also participate by video conference, and that technologically is not so easy to do. For example, you're live streaming, but if somebody is home and wants to comment, they can't. So the only way you'll be able to have a trustee come in right now under the law and video conference is to take public comment off that agenda. Because if you don't have public comment at that meeting, then it's okay to have the trustee video conference in without requiring everyone else to participate, because even people here wouldn't be able to participate. But that's the way it's written. The other thing is you have to have now 3 people in a public place to constitute a quorum before you can have somebody else participate by video, even if they're sick or something and they
So the
meet
person on
circumstances.
video cannot be part to make a quorum. The
They
quorum has
can, here's how it works. If they're in a public place, and when I said 3 in a public place, you don't have to be together.
Okay.
In theory, the mayor's at the library, you're here, and somebody else is at, you know, a publicly accessible fire department, and you're on video conference, you're good. Now, another trustee is ill and at home and can't be in a public place, she can participate and count toward, well, not count toward the quorum, but she could vote
So
and
you already have a
participate.
quorum, and now that
Right.
person doesn't be public.
Yeah, so you need to have 3 people in a place that's publicly accessible. So, you know, same thing, could be 3 of you here and 2 that are not here. You'd be able to do that. But the only caveat is that public comment issue, because the way the law is written, if you allow public comment here for the people that are present, everybody has to be able to do
So
it. So you would need like a Zoom setup.
So basically, by passing this, it just gives us another arm in the future if we
Right.
have to go to it. It's
I'm
not
looking
something
at
we
it.
have to be doing.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking at it that right now, if you needed it, you would be able to do it. Without this law, you can't do video conferencing at all.
So we have to have this in the bank, so to speak.
Yes.
If
Yeah, and if you upgraded your technology and had the capability down the road, you're already set to be able to do that. But sometimes there's a situation where you need to get something done and you don't have a quorum, but now you can at least take advantage of the video conference if you had to.
Any more discussion about that? Alright. Anybody public? Go ahead.
Ed Kroll, 659 Jersey Ave. Would that also be for other board meetings or just this board meeting? Would
Well-
it be for ZBA and stuff like that?
Yeah, any public body. So ZBA planning, it would be up to those boards, but with this law, there's going to be a set of rules as well for video conferencing that would apply to all boards, but it'll be up to each board if they decide to take advantage of it. But the rules I talked about apply to all those boards.
Okay, great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Go ahead.
Jean Marin, 5 Brook Court. So would it apply to this, public hearing? I mean, it seems to be a contradiction. The public can't give input to a public hearing. How is it a public hearing?
Well, no, this public hearing, you're obviously having input. If we had a public hearing and a board member was not here and participating by video conference, they couldn't, because that's a meeting that already has public comment. It's only if that meeting does not allow public comment. So public hearings couldn't be part of that because they automatically allow you to comment.
Okay, but if this is passed, then for the general meeting and someone needs to use that, the public's ability to participate and comment, that section of tonight's agenda would be no longer on?
Okay, so now we're talking about regular public comment, which is what I was talking about. I'm not suggesting or encouraging that to happen. My point was more that if there was something that had to be done and we needed somebody to video conference in, maybe even a special meeting, that they wouldn't put public comment on the agenda. But that's not going to be the case for a public hearing, again, because that can't be cut off. Only general public comment like you have outside of the public hearings at a board meeting. And it's not intent or encouraged to do that, but if the board was in a crisis next week and needed to get something done and needed, that other board member to be there by video conference, the only way they could do that right now with this technology would be to not have a public comment session on the agenda.
So one more thing then, how many times in the past 6 months, past year, past 2 years, have you failed to have a quorum?
I couldn't answer that, I haven't been here.
Probably not that many times, maybe not ever,
So why is it being considered?
because
It's basically just in case.
we did it as a just in case thing. I have not been able, I missed a lot of meetings because I'm going through cancer treatments. So I was unable to attend the meeting. So instead of not having a presence, I was able to do it from my house because I could not be around. I honestly shouldn't even be here right now. I just had a treatment yesterday. So for me to stay involved, we did, the board allowed me to video conference in. We were using the law that was still active for COVID, but now we have to have our own municipality law for something like this. So if by any chance any of the other board members do come down with a serious illness and they are needed to participate or want to participate, now they can, as well as the public.
Yeah, and listen, the board also has the option, I'm not suggesting they're always going to cut out public comment in that circumstance. They could set up a laptop with Zoom, and a webcam and just allow the public comment to go through that. There are ways around it technologically. I was just pointing out right now, we're not interactive, we're just streaming. So that would have to be addressed if there's public comment on the agenda.
But you did say we wouldn't, even the people here live would not be able to comment, correct?
If there's no public comment on the agenda, that's correct. Again, that's not the plan.
I just want to say I really don't like that personally. But
It wouldn't be a practice. I think once in the last month we had a special meeting, and we check schedules, right? We want to make sure we have it physically. We're in a location. We allow access to the public, so it's not something that I think we would do as a practice.
And if the board
It's
wanted,
going to be special circumstances.
yeah, you could always amend the regulations that go with this to say some policy thing like, that public comment, shall not be stricken unless absolutely necessary or something like that.
It's a good point. I think your concern that we would, if we had to do that, then like I said, I think as a board, personally, we look to get that technology in place. There's options of Zoom. The ways that we would look to do that if that was the case, if we needed to. But the general practice is if we need a special meeting, which is probably the only scenario that I could think of, we usually make sure that there's a quorum physically here with enough of us.
Right.
Mrs. Mayor, can you spell your name for me, please?
Jeanne.
N-N-E.
Last name is Marin, Marron.
M-A-R-R-O-N, and you said 5 Brook Court, correct?
Court, not trail.
I got you. So it was Jeanne, right?
Correct.
Okay.
No, I appreciate you sharing that. That's something that.
No, it's important.
And I don't know,
No.
no disrespect. I
Absolutely not.
understand.
I 100%. I just wanted you to understand why we're doing this, because we thought we could follow the COVID law, and then that got repealed from the state, so we have to have our own municipality law in place, and we just thought it was a good idea, and it happened to any one of us.
It's a good law to have in place in case something like COVID happens again, right?
Yeah, in
And
case,
we have to have
Well, you're going to have to follow that same,
Yeah.
that process, unless they do an executive order. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Just a quick question. So, let's say, there was a problem with this building, and they didn't have a public venue. They could do a whole meeting and then hold a public part at a later date, right? In reference to whatever the subject was.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's just,
So if there was an emergency or something, they could use that to facilitate at least a direction or.
yeah, and then I think if it was anything critical enough, it would be a public hearing if it was that important, and that won't be one of these situations where you can cut out public comment, nor do I think that's a plan at all. I was just telling the board that that's the only complication with streaming versus interactive. And so in order to be interactive, then anybody could join in and comment. But like I said, if we really needed to, set up a laptop with Zoom, and if somebody wants to join in that way, you've addressed it, you've got interactivity, and then the board member can be in on FaceTime, and the laptop can be here on Zoom, and that's easy to do. May not be the best audio quality, but usually you can get through with that.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Nope. All right. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make the motion.
Chad?
Okay.
Second?
Hallie?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Public hearing number 4 regarding local law authorizing the property tax levy limit to excess the limit established is in general municipal law 3-C. Can I get a motion to open public hearing, please?
Make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're now open for this.
So this is just the one we do every year.
Do you know what the limit is
Yes.
this year? Is it the same 1.8, 2?
Yeah, it depends.
It depends every year, it changes.
Yeah,
It's not,
it would be specific to you.
because
So
it's based on your, assessment, you assess on what our assessed value is, so our assessment changes every year.
And for the public's benefit, this is thankfully the last public hearing, so my voice won't make number 5. This is, in other words, to adopt a budget if that budget is going to exceed the the tax cap that's been established, and I don't know the exact percent for this village, but you need a local law in order to adopt that budget. It doesn't mean the village is going to exceed the tax cap, but if it doesn't pass this law and the budget does exceed the tax cap, they would have to put money in reserve and not be able to use it because they wouldn't have authorization. So this is kind of another precautionary law so that if your budget exceeds the cap, you're authorized to do that. And it has to be adopted before your budget's adopted. So that's the reason this is on.
And pretty much every municipality does this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
most do,
We've
unless
done it-
they're
we've done it-
absolutely
we've done it every
sure.
year.
We've
You
done
know,
it every
yeah.
year for as long as I've been here.
All
There's
right.
nothing new.
Any more discussion up here? Open to the public? Anyone?
No?
Go once, go twice, 3 times?
But-
Guys, we
I'm
have,
curious, is there a percentage, like, how do you determine what to make it,
that's budget meeting after budget meeting after budget meeting.
The state
You're
actually,
talking about the tax cap
Oh, the
itself?
cap itself,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's given
How
to
much
us,
we
right?
would go above what is the cap, that's what I'm
Yeah,
asking.
you know how much we will go
What's the
above?
top percentage we would go above what the cap is by, is it the state?
Oh, so the state will say, I think it's the state that sets what the
Yeah.
cap
Yeah.
is. I think in the past, I've seen it's like 2 or 1.8 in the past, or,
and it varies depending on our assessed value of everything in the village. That's what it's based on, and from there, like, if our assessed value goes up, then that percentage can go up as well. But that's given to us by the state. We have to go online and put in the figures, and they kick it back to us.
Go ahead.
Just a quick question, so this law will give you the ability to make that adjustment when the state gives you the number back. So when you get whatever that number is for the cap, you can then adjust your budget number, not budget number, tax number to that. Is that correct?
we can exceed, so we can exceed it. We can exceed it without, as you mentioned,
balance our
having to
budget.
put reserves away to do that, right? So it
Is
allows,
there a-
allows to pass the budget, basically.
Is there a certain number you get to when you have to go back to the public and say, hey, listen, there's gonna be a levy that's whatever, and,
So our practice is we do 2 workshops and 1 to 2 hearings. So those public hearings, that's when the public will be allowed to comment on the budget that must be adopted by the 1st of May.
Yeah, there's not like a vote or anything, if that's what you mean. Like, there's no referendum or a point for that.
just my other comment, the resolutions, why aren't they in the agendas when they have the actual body of the resolution?
We never did that. I don't.
It would be a good idea, this way everybody could have an idea of exactly what you guys are talking about voting on and all. So maybe in the future, any resolution that's up, it could be included in the agenda, or at least available online. so we can see exactly what this law is and maybe better comment, especially if it includes increasing taxes. Thank you.
I think you can
Kathleen, the
accept
law's online, right? Just-
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
you
it's
need
on
to-
the night, the laws are online, we post them when we post the minutes,
Yeah,
everything's there.
Yeah, it's very
All the time.
confusing when it's that way though, because it's always a few months back. And right now, the past minutes are not up to date. So, you know, I just think, what's the big deal? Can we put the resolutions separately? This way it's, you know, we're able to access them, or you're able to have them here with the agendas, or, you know, at least one or two that we can look at to see what
Sure.
these votes are that are being changed.
Sure.
Yeah, I think Jeff said what she was saying is, the resolution in the case of a local law won't tell you much. It's the local law that has the substance in it that you wanna see.
The resolution, the
No.
actual resolution that they're gonna vote on.
But I'm just telling you, for example, the resolution might say, we hereby adopt local law 2 of 2023. That's the resolution. The local law is what tells you what they're doing substantively.
That's what I'm looking for.
That's
Whatever the
what I thought.
proposed- Whatever the proposed change is.
Right.
I mean, I realize you summarize it, in the actual agenda, but, you know, what the actual substance of the change is.
Yeah, so Kathleen, are the laws on the website or no? Like,
These ones aren't not yet,
okay, yeah.
I'll post them.
Okay, yeah, they should be. So then that's what I presumed you were looking for. I just didn't want you to see.
Exactly, just so we know what you're
Yeah.
talking about, because right now it's just a number and, you know, a brief description.
Right. I agree.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
no, that's gonna go.
Going once? Going twice? Motion to close public hearing.
Make a motion.
Kelly?
Second.
Second?
A second.
Chad, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, now we're into the village board meeting. Announcements. You want to start, or you want me to start?
You have your,
Start with this one?
that's your, it's all you.
All right. Notice is hereby given that the public will be held, no, that's not it.
Where's your thing?
What notices?
Nope, nope.
I got it. There we go.
You can start with your announcements. You already did the workshop?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, ready? Congratulations to the winners of yesterday's election. Congratulations, Chad.
Thank you.
Congratulations, John. I also like to congratulations to Kathy Russo, our court clerk, for her retirement, and congratulations to Al Nichols for his retirement from the Greenwood Lake Police Department. I would also like to announce the results of the election. Incumbent trustee Chad Sellier has been re-elected for another term. John Trezino has been elected to the village board. So congratulations to both of you. We extend our heartfelt congratulations to both trustee Sellier and Mr. Trezino. We look forward to their leadership and serving our community. We would like to express our deepest gratitude to Nancy Clifford for her dedicated service on this village board. Your contributions have been invaluable, and we appreciate the time and effort you invested into this community. A big thank you goes out to our dedicated poll workers for ensuring a smooth and successful election. We also extend our appreciation to Kathleen, our village clerk, for her tireless work in managing this election process. Finally, we'd like to thank all the residents who came out to cast their ballots yesterday. With over 500 ballots cast, it's clearly that our community values this democratic right to vote. Your participation is essential in shaping the future of our village. So I thank you.
Yep. Number was like 577, right? I think
544.
500 in the ballots.
I think it was 544 was the amount of ballots. It was like 1,000 something actually votes casted.
Yeah, 1,000. Wow.
Yeah.
Did I win?
Yeah. You won.
Correspondence, please.
We have a resignation letter from Ed Mateo, resignation letter from Al Nichols, a letter from the Orange County Health Department, reminder of jurisdictional oversight and review, Julian Losa requests an extension of a building permit, and the Township of West Milford readopting ordinance 2003-2002 to vacate certain public rights on a road known as Tenafly Court of the Township of West Milford. So, because of the building permit, we're gonna have to add a resolution to the end. Okay?
Yep.
To approve it,
You gonna write that up?
yeah.
All right. Visiting elected officials. Floyd,
Good evening.
how are you?
Fine, thanks. I don't have anything for you this evening.
Thank you very much, sir. Reports from boards and department heads. Parks.
My report for parks. Last month we took down the snowflakes, repaired the fence by the teen center basketball court. We picked up 2 weed harvesters from West Milford, began working on them. We repaired the small harvester, put a new fuel tank in it, rebuilt the starter, and rebuilt the fuel pump. We got that one running and ready to go. Picked up garbage village wide, repaired the leaking boiler at PD, began cleaning around the shop for spring, took down the ice rinks and packed them up. Repaired broken guardrail by Lionsfield parking area, and we're also working on a new wall and flat area by the concession stand for the Little League. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Brendan,
Thank you.
for fixing
Thank you
those
very much.
machines and everything else.
DPW.
They're not here.
They're not here, so
All right.
let's listen to our
Police.
amazing chief.
You have to come up.
Chief.
This is the first for me.
Good evening, everybody. I just want to start by congratulating Chad Cellier for his re-election here to trustee. I also want to congratulate John Trezino for his election to trustee, and I want to thank Nancy Clifford on behalf of the Greenwood Lake Police Department for her dedicated service and her support of our police department. Our report for February 2024, the Greenwood Lake Police Department handled 1,146 blotter complaints. We had 8 arrests, issued 171 traffic summonses, had 3 parking summonses, and handled 2 motor vehicle accidents. As for upcoming events, the PBA Easter egg hunt is on March 30th, and it starts at 10 a.m. sharp. And I say sharp because a lot of people will get there at 10, a couple minutes after 10, and the scavenger hunt is starting at 10 o'clock. So please, if you plan to come to that, be there a little bit before 10 o'clock, as the scavenger hunt is going to start at 10. We also started our traffic safety committee. Our first meeting was in February, and it's been a success so far. We had about 7 members comprised of Greenwood Lake Police Department members, the board members here in the village, and community members. And we discuss all the issues that's going on with traffic in the village, and we're coming up with solutions. So we're putting the issues on the table, and we're talking about it and figuring out how we can best handle these situations. So you're going to see some of these traffic signs around the village, and it's going to tell you how fast you're going. Please try to obey the speed limit. Thank you. That's the end of my report.
Did you let me know when you have your next one?
I will. Yeah, absolutely. So it's the
April
basically,
15th.
yeah, it's gonna be the 3rd Monday of every month, 6 o'clock here in the courtroom. If anybody's interested in coming, that's a village resident. That is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Water. Phil is not here. He needs a rest after the department health being here, so he's well deserved. Trustee reports. Mr. Howley.
Just to reiterate what the chief just said, I attended the 2 traffic safety meetings, and between the chief and Sergeant Jones, we're kind of educating the people of the nuances of what the police have to do. And I think they're starting to understand that it's not just as simple as going out and writing 100 speeding tickets. You know, there's engineering factors, there's equipment factors. We have these two new signs. If you came down Waterstone Road today, you would have seen the one. The good part about them, they're not attached to a telephone pole. We can bring them throughout the village and let people see how fast they're going. The beach is starting to spark up. I'll be working with Brendan and his crew to get the beach up and running. I know it's a little snowy out there right now, but unfortunately we have to be a couple of months ahead of the curve. And I believe that concludes my report at this time.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Kellum?
I'm gonna do the school, not sure if you can hear me through this mask, but the middle school had a staff and student basketball game to raise money for the 8th grade trips and their end of year events. From what I understand, the staff won. The middle school kids also had their play Finding Nemo. It was really well done and it was adorable. Congrats to the kids and the staff, it was great. As far as library, they're looking for a youth service supervisor. It's a full-time position, 35 hours a week. You can call the director, Jill Cronin, at 477-8733 for more info. This Saturday, they have the science behind the total solar eclipse. You need to call the library to register for that. On April 11th, they have a family craft night, and you need to register for that also. I would like to thank Nancy Clifford for her service to the board. Congratulations to Chad and John. Welcome to the board. And thank you, Kathy, for running a smooth election. I know it's a lot of work. Thank you. That ends my report.
Thank you very much. Trustee Salyer?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll start off also thanking Nancy for her service to the board and her hard work over the years. Thank you to all the public who came out and voted to re-elect me, another 2-year term. And John's not here, but we want to welcome him to the board as well. Look forward to working with him. I'll cover building for the month of February. The building department took in $3,833 in the month of February, and that was led by the building permits, accounting for about 1/3 of that total, and also short-term annual rentals. It's like they did a lot of inspections in the month of February. That was accounted for about 2/3 of that total. The other item I'll bring up is something started to talk to Chief Adamarian about, but also for more for the building department. In canvassing for the campaign, I had a chance to speak to many people in the community. A couple things they brought to the attention I think we can address. One is which is already I think being addressed with the Traffic and Safety Committee, is just the speed signs throughout the village. But I know that's being a priority by that committee, mapping out the village and then installing the 15 mile an hour on the off roads. The other thing was unregistered vehicles and without plates. You know, Adam and I started to talk about a little bit, and also house numbers. So just those things which Danielle and the building department we spoke about. I think to address those, we'll start with sort of public service announcements, and then more of a structured plan to sort of enforce or correct those actions. So those are things that I think I'll make sort of a priority, I guess, a agenda item moving forward. But obviously working with the different department heads and this board to enact those things, or at least correct those items there. So that is my report for this month.
Thank you very much. Attorney report.
Mayor, just have one item that I had an email 2 hours ago from Chelsea Weisbrod, who's Sokoloff Stern attorney handling the Clasto litigation. So there's something I would need to go into executive session for briefly regarding that case, and then we can come back out. You know, it doesn't need to be done now. We do it at the end of the meeting, and that's pretty much it.
Thank you, sir. Clerk's report.
Well, I'm glad the election's over. So congratulations, Jack. Congratulations to John Trezino. And I want to say thank you to Nancy for all of her hard work and all the event calendars and everything that she's done throughout her term. She was an incredible asset to this village board, so she will be missed. Just like, you know, water bills are out. They're due by April 22nd. If they're not paid by then you'll get an additional fee on top of that. We did add a drop box outside of Village Hall. It's a black box. You can drop your water bills only with check, no cash is allowed in the box. Also, not on the events because it came in last minute today. Congressman Patrick Ryan is going to be having his caravan on April 16th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Here at Village Hall. You can do any type of Social Security concerns, veteran concerns, or IRS concerns with the van during those hours. I also want to thank Holly for all your help with the election and yesterday and getting my agenda together since I wasn't around, and helped me clean up last night. So it was much appreciated, and for you and Danielle checking in on me. So thank you.
Your mental health?
My mental health, exactly.
Thank you very much. Old business, planning and zoning. We're gonna start coming up with the procedures of what that's gonna look like. So that's gonna be very involved, and everybody will be getting phone calls about that coming up. Golf carts, as we mentioned before, it's moved to committee in Albany, and keep our fingers crossed that that passes and comes back to us. Comprehensive plan, we have the planner, we have a contract with her. She's gonna start contacting everybody who would be on that comprehensive plan. She has a list of names, and she's gonna start setting meeting dates for that. You're gonna hear from her. Her name is Bonnie Franson. So look out for your emails for that. Water plant and Department of Health, we addressed that before. They were here last week with Phil and went around the village, and I don't know what passed or failed, but Phil was happy with that. Beach passes, we talked about that, about raising the prices. Have we locked in a price for that yet?
Yep, and they're posted, and people have been buying beach passes.
Thank you very
And
much.
They go up June 1st, so get them while they're at the lower rate.
Thank you. Hotel motel tax, that's also like an Airbnb tax. That is moving its way through Albany also. And if that gets passes, we'll probably adopt that here around May or June locally. Budget for 2024, 2025, we're still working. When's our next budget meeting?
March 27th.
March 27th. So that's
At
our
6
next
p.m.
meeting with that. New business. As I mentioned, new lake management company. That company's named Tigris. It went from Solitude to Black Lagoon, and now Tigris is our new company. And they'll be doing a lake assessment and coming over a plan to, for fighting the weeds in the lake and addressing it long-term management of the invasive species that we have in our lake. I want to thank West Milford Township for partnering with us and getting the 2 weed harvesters up and running, which Brendan got up and running right away. So thank you, Brendan, and thank you, West Milford, for doing that. That's going to be a huge asset for us to go out there and do our own weed harvesting as a village. Events. Teen Center is scheduled for Tuesday night, located at the Community Center, 51 Waterstone Road, between the hours of 4 to 6 p.m. for grades 2 to 5th grades, and 6 to 8 p.m. for grades 6 to 8th grade. Planning Board meeting scheduled for March 7th, 2024, located at Village Hall, located at 18 Church Street, starting at 7:30 p.m. Zoning Board meeting scheduled for March 21st, 2024, located at Village Hall, 18 Church Street, starting at 7:30 p.m. I will now open it up to privilege of the floor. Everyone's limited to 3 minutes per person. We're open to privilege of the floor. Anyway. Chief Adams,
This is different, huh? Do I do this from here, or do I have to come up for this?
wherever you want.
Okay.
I'll just-
I think everybody can probably hear me from here, but on behalf of the Greenwood Lake Little League, I want to thank Greenwood Lake Tree Service, Russ and Aaron Peisner. They have done a ton of work down at Lyons and Francis Field, taking down trees, trimming up trees, whatever we need, they're always there. They're reaching out to us, what can we do to help, what can we do to help? So just want to recognize them on behalf again of the Little League and thank them very much for that. Also want to thank the village board for giving us Brendan down there to turn that area in front of the concession stand into a nice little sitting area where people can sit down and have their food and watch a game. So just want to thank everybody involved, and big things coming forward. But thank you very much, Aaron and Russ.
On the Little League thing, I want to thank Brendan for entertaining my crazy ideas. And I also would like to thank Frank Latito for letting us borrow his Mafia box to start that patio area. We might have to call it Latito Lounge, but I thank him for letting us do that. It's going to be very nice down here. It's going to be a huge change. All right, moving on.
Anybody Anybody else for clearers of the floor?
Anybody else?
Hi, Jean Marin again. I did notice, looking at the website, that, there's no calendar of these meetings that you can really get to anymore. And a lot of the information is very outdated, like, we're meeting supposedly the third Monday of the month still. So there's a lot of outdated information if you just go on the website to look at it. I don't know if it's a glitch, if it can be removed and the correct information added, or maybe it's already there, but it's just bringing up the old stuff. And in addition, the minutes we mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
aren't on there, for quite some time. And then I also wanted to ask about, I tried to find like the guidelines or the rules for the electronic sign on Windermere at the front of the park there. What are the rules? Like, where would I find that? Like, is that something that belongs to the village, the
It's the village's.
taxpayers pay for? And what are the, how does someone, like, get on there if they want to, an event, or whatever the rules are?
They just contact me at,
And anyone can put something on
we
there?
mostly,
Do
we
organization.
do, organizations, nonprofits, mostly that are up there. For events and stuff, it's mostly village events that are up there.
So there's no, like, specific rules or
No.
besides, you know, helping out?
Why, is there something specific that you're thinking of?
Maybe. I'll follow up with a letter.
Okay.
It's very limited too, that we could put on there, so. A lot of people wanna put information on there, but we are limited to a certain amount.
I don't think personal garage sales will go up there. You know, I don't know if that's
I
where
mean,
you're leading to,
we-
but that's,
No.
you know.
They're like
Not at
trying to
all.
limit it to like not-for-profit organizations getting the word out that they're having events to support them. You know, so it's not just like, oh, I'm having a party
Yeah.
kind of thing, or,
It's been just mostly for nonprofits and any other village
you
events.
know, or something's happening outside the village kind of thing. That's not really something.
Or notices, right, PSAs, right? I think
Yeah.
I've seen that,
Right.
yeah.
So our calendar is on our website. It's kind of weird to get to. Like when you go on to the website and if you hit Village Calendar, I know it says it comes up Greenwood Lake Summer Concert Series.
Mm-hmm.
You actually have to click on Village Calendar, not like on itself. Or get on the Village Calendar part itself. If you click on that, our calendar does come up. I could ask Peter to see if he can make it as part of the drop down to make it easier.
And maybe he does have to go
Okay.
through and realign everything. Go through.
Speaking of
and change them.
events, I wanna thank everybody that was at and participated in I Was There for the Centennial Committee. I would say I was there, and they did a fantastic job with
I'm
that.
sorry, I missed that.
I know Chad was there, Tom was there, thank you to Alex for doing everything you did for that. It was a
You
very
dressed
nice
the part
day.
as well.
Yeah, yes,
And
you did.
it was pretty well attended.
Yes,
It was very well attended.
so I wanna thank everybody that was a part of that. Anybody else for privilege of the floor? No? Going once, going twice? Alright, privilege of the floor is now closed. Resolutions. Yeah,
So
So-
the resolution numbers are gonna change, because they were incorrect, so he's just gonna read the new numbers and it'll be updated and posted to the website, the new numbers.
so resolution 65 is actually resolution 68. And that authorizes the mayor to sign and amend the bond resolution passed on January 20th, 2024, increasing the total borrowing to $147,000. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Second, Kelly. Any discussion?
It's with I think in previous
the-
meetings, we put the items that bond is
Yeah.
covering, we discussed, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
This was for the planner. 'Cause
Right, that's
they-
what we're increasing it for the planner.
Yeah, for the
gap.
planner.
Okay.
Yeah, the gap,
That's the only
yeah.
change.
That's the only change.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 68. Resolution 66 is now 69. Adopting a local law to repeal and replace Chapter 53 of the Village Code, consultant fees. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Silly,
Second?
I'll second it.
Hallie?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 67 is now 70. adopting a local law to repeal and replace chapter 23, records and public access 2. Can I get a motion,
I'll
please?
make a motion.
Kelly,
I'll second.
second.
Celia.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Resolution 68 is now 71. This is adoption of new regulations for public access to municipal records. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Celia,
Second.
Holly,
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 69 is now 72. Adopting a local law authorizing a property tax levy in excess of the limit established in the general municipal law 3-C. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
Second. Tom,
Holly,
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 70 is now 73, adopting the local law authorizing the use of video conferencing for village meetings. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Celia,
Second.
Second,
Holly,
Tom. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Another resolution, number 74. Be it resolved that the village board authorizes the extension of the building permit number 19-07618. Can I get a motion, please?
Make a motion.
Kelly, second.
Second.
Chad,
Yeah.
any discussion?
Celia,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 11, approval to pay all audited bills. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Second, Kelly,
Kelly,
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 12, acceptance of minutes from February 21, 2024 board meeting and March 6, 2024 budget workshop meeting.
as
Can I get a
well
motion?
as special village board meeting of Friday, March 1st, 2024.
Motion, please.
Make a motion.
Second,
I'll second it.
any discussion?
The, I know we talked about the minutes from the March 6th budget workshop. Are there any changes?
Not that I know of.
Nope.
Right? No.
And we're doing it at this meeting as opposed to the budget workshop meeting?
What do you mean?
We have to approve the
we have to
minutes
approve
from
the
the
minutes.
past meetings that we've had.
I know that was a budget workshop meeting. We talked about changes to that. Has
You
everyone
could talk
reviewed-
about it in an open meeting. I can't,
But the budget workshop is also an open meeting.
okay, so what changes are you looking for?
Has anyone else reviewed it?
Yeah.
You reviewed it?
Did I review the meeting?
The
The
workshop?
work, yeah.
Minutes from the workshop?
The minutes?
private?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good.
I mean, it stated what the accountant said. I mean, what do you wanna change? I'm just trying to understand. I mean, from what I understand, from what I read, that's what Shannon said. I don't know, what do you want it to say? Do you want? I'm just curious, cause I don't know. What changes you're thinking you should make?
There, I think there were practices should be changed to adopted budgets. I think that's one change. We don't do practices, we adopt budgets. I think that's one change. I think language, I think that's more accurate.
More accurate in the sense of that the accountant's not being accurate in her
No,
her
we-
assessment?
We don't do budget practice, we adopt budgets. So I think that's more accurate to what we do. As a board, we don't do budget practice, we adopt budgets. So I think that's more accurate in what we do as a board.
But did we not quote Shannon what she's Shannon?
First, Shannon did not, I don't think she said that, and I'm just, whether that was said or not, I just think that's one language change that's more accurate to what we do as a board.
I mean, could we ask Holly? Holly's the one that listened to it.
You can table this one and you can
I would
go back it if you
I would
wanna
like to
table that one, but you're gonna have to be more specific on, and
I gave
Yeah,
one
and what
specific,
you're
I'll
looking
table it
to
and make
include.
recommendations.
Motion to table,
I like,
the minutes?
I would table it.
motion to
The-
Chad,
Only-
second.
time
Only
out.
the March 6th one.
Only March
Only the
6th.
March 6th.
Motion to table March 6th. Chad, motion, second. I'll second it. Next. Any discussion?
Are we accepting the other minutes? What are we doing?
Hold on, well, first I gotta do this one. Table Salier, seconded by Mayor Buckley. All aye?
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Now, a motion to select the minutes for February 21st, 2024 board meeting and the special meeting. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
I'll
Chad,
second that motion.
Any discussion about that? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Alright,
Budget transfers and amendments.
there is none.
There is none?
We have to go to
But we have
executive
to go
session.
into executive session.
Can I get a motion to go into executive session for the reasons of?
The reason will be to discuss the litigation in Orange County Supreme Court of Clasto v. Village of Greenwood Lake.
Okay.
I'll
Motion,
second.
Second, Kelly?
Alright,
Any more
Hallie, sorry,
discussion?
hold on. Hallie,
No.
Gil,
Aye.
All in
aye.
favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're now going to executive session. No action will be taken after we come out of executive session.
7:16 PM, so we need to clear the room.
7:16 PM. Is it?
And we need to clear the room.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I need all you people to know this.
Chief Trevino said sorry he had to run out of meeting, but he had a live fire. And you know, he had a refund.
You need people who's sitting on the couch and sitting here, and I didn't want to not.
Go up.
Listen, look at them. As soon as they get their way, they're not gonna be asking a stupid question. I mean, Costello's still in here.
The line is off, right?
No.
Oh,